I get the same feeling, so I'm coming day and night.
Can you fly, Bobby?
Can't piss on hospitality. I won't allow it.
She's already contaminated by this odd substance.
Jesus wept.
I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm a...
Okay. So, I need to update that a little bit. Oh, okay. Oh my god, I'm so loud! Loud! What? Okay, that's that's too low. That's too low. That's in the yellow. All right, in the yellow. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I don't think a lot of people are going to watch this stream because quite simply it is dumb. It's dumb. So I thank you, Stand in Silence. I appreciate your unending support. Oh, I forgot. I forgot to eat anything before this because I'm an idiot. My wife's in the chat. And yeah. One second. All right. Protein powder. So, I fuckity really enjoyed Madam Web. Madam Web, for those who somehow don't know, is the new Sony spider-adjacent film. And it looked from the outset like a massive piece of shit. Just the biggest dump that could possibly be made. Let's go over. Oh, I don't have my my little window boy. That's okay. So this is the trailer for Madam Web, and we're just gonna take a quick look at this. Okay, apparently I'm not getting audio from desktop, so that's fine. I'll just...
Hey, come on. Get your stuff. Let's go.
So right off the bat, I'm actually going to say something. I'm going to get kind of to my enjoyment kind of immediately. I think this is great. Like, this whole scene is really good. This whole diner scene where the girls are fucking morons and Cassie has to, like, this whole, like, this shot right here. I'm not even sure that exact shot is in the movie, but we do get a few, like, instances of our Spidey villain, Ezekiel Sims, who is not a whole lot like his comic book counterpart. He is barefoot a lot, so there is, and he is a spider person, and it did come from bullshit. So there is a little bit, but it's not. Ezekiel Sims in the comics is pretty cool. In here he's fine. He actually works pretty well as like a masked killer, a la the Terminator. I think some of the best scenes involving Ezekiel Sims are that, like the Steiner scene. It is a little unbelievable that he has as much trouble as he does, but also we're dealing with a woman who can see the future. So, let's see here. So, and then we see, like, there's all these Final Destination moments in the movie I fucking love. Can't get enough of them. Is this just a scene that I found? Okay, cool.
Let's try that again.
So I also love the idea behind this movie. The idea is basically we're going to do an early aughts superhero movie, and it's going to be a mishmash of The Terminator and Final Destination. Maybe a little bit of any psychic movie you want to put here, honestly. It's really good. Okay.
A week ago, I spent my life racing against time.
So Dakota Johnson. Dakota Johnson is a weird actor. She is odd to say the least. I don't quite understand. Also, I'm sorry, I can't, for some reason, because I had to restart the stream, I can't see live chat as easily as usual. It's not actually showing up in Streamlabs, so I am relying entirely on a browser window on a separate screen. So, sup, Matt? And glad that you enjoyed Seduction of Cindy. Stand in Silence. Yeah. It's, porn's good. That's all I got to say. Oh, Dakota Johnson. So Dakota Johnson kind of has... So, okay. I never watched 50 Shades of Grey. I actually, you know what? I don't know what Dakota Johnson movies I've seen. I'm going to just straight up don't know. Let's see here. She was in 21 Jump Street? Huh. Oh, Suspiria. Right. I always forget about her being in Suspiria. She's really good in Suspiria. So I guess I've really only seen... She was in Wounds. Wow. I actually probably take this score back, by the way. I think if I rewatched Wounds right now, I'd probably give it a 3.5. I saw it at Sundance, and it was not a great crowd. So I need to revisit Wounds at some point. With Dreamboat Army Hammer. Does he have anything new coming out? I haven't been paying attention to the news. I did not hear about End of Evangelion coming to theaters. That's going to have to be something that I go and see. So, as you can see, also, a lot of distaste for this movie. I think Karsten gets a little bit of the idea. I disagree with the 1 star, but when he says instant classic, he is correct. And I also agree with Patrick Willems. I think the film is more successful than he says, but he says you can feel the movie wants to be a camp classic, and the filmmakers, or probably the studio execs, actively fighting against that. I definitely feel the studio execs fighting against that campiness. I do not think S.J. Clarkson is fighting against the campiness. I think that she's actually a really solid director. I don't think I've watched... Oh, right, she did some Defenders crap. It's really sad that her career is probably going straight back to TV, because... I mean, I haven't really seen anything else of hers, but shows off quite a bit in this movie. But back to the trailer. So Dakota Johnson plays a paramedic, and she is very good at her job. She's very good at driving an ambulance through New York, which is in and of itself a very specific skill. And she's very good at just basic EMT shit. You know, she is good at saving lives. But her problem is she's not so good with people, or kids specifically. She's awful with kids. That's our initial setup of the movie, is that she fucking sucks when it comes to dealing with kids, or with people who have kids, or people who aren't autistic. Like, she's just not great with people, except for Ben, her partner, played by Adam Scott.
You out today, okay?
Trying to save people who are running out of it. Until one moment changed everything.
Come on!
This is a much better trailer than the first trailer, by the way.
Come back to the land of the living.
I don't understand what's happening.
I've been having...
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Understand what's happening.
Is this in the movie? Because I don't think it is. And David Rosen, you're in the chat. I'm fairly sure that you did not watch this high like I did. So let me know, is this in the movie? Because I don't remember this at all. And also, is she getting an eye test done, an eye exam?
I've been having visions.
I knew he was gonna die.
Or maybe it could have been one of those times where she just like sees something but doesn't realize she's seeing the future. There's a few of those scenes, and I might have forgotten. But anyway, this movie went through a lot of reshoots and edits, and it is exceptionally obvious.
I think I'm seeing.
Really like that scene, by the way. And then this scene on the train. This scene on the train is such a great Final Destination adjacent psychic visions introduction scene. Up until this point, she's gotten a few visions. Obviously, we, the audience, are way ahead of her. We know that she's seeing the future. She doesn't know that. And to show us exactly how these powers work and also introduce us to all three of her young paramours. Is that the right word for this? I don't know how words work. Okay, so it was her doctor. So I expected to hate this movie. I thought it was going to be like boring bad. And so I went in just stoned to the gills. But I want to note that I have not had that problem before. Also, let me just, I'm really annoyed that you can't see my insane movements. Okay. There's so much to deal with here. So this whole train sequence is fuckity rad, okay? And we get, it's very good. Also, okay, sorry, I'm going to keep going back and forth between all kinds of things because there's so much about the reaction to this movie that bug. Oh, right. I was super high during Dark Phoenix, and that was a piece of shit. So I was super high during Ferrari, and I wasn't super high during Ferrari. I was pretty high during Ferrari, and didn't care for that one either. Ferrari's not terrible or anything. It's kind of a in the middle kind of film with one really bad scene. So anyway, I'm gonna really quickly. I'm just gonna add my face to this because this is driving me nuts. I don't want to have to go back and forth. Give me 1 second. And add that. Here, there I am. There's my face. There we go. Okay. Good enough for government work. That's what I say. All right. Oh my God.
New York City's a whole new level of crazy these days.
What do you want from me?
And like all the scenes where Ezekiel Sims is just murdering the shit out of people, great. If I had one initial qualm with the movie that's not related to the editing and studio bullshit, you go, Matt. I love that. I wish we saw more of him murdering the shit out of these future Spider-Women, because that was always great. Always great.
New York City's a whole new level of crazy these days.
And that's basically how it goes. There's a bit more to it. Like she kind of has people like coming in one after another. It's honestly not like it's probably a scene that you could pace a little better, but I really enjoyed it. So yeah, whatever.
This is an emergency. Get off the train.
That man's trying to kill you.
What?
So you have immediately right off the bat from the trailer, you have that Final Destination Terminator thing.
Who are you? What is going on? I can see the future. Oh, what the hell? She didn't see that coming? That's not how it works.
And I love Dakota Johnson's like kind of nonplussed demeanor in this. Her acting style, I was not really a fan of before. I think Suspiria works because you have Luca behind that, and he's just like, a fucking amazing director. Here she's kind of hit and miss. When it started, I wasn't really too into her. And then as it progressed, it really does feel like she is doing a lot of this. Either she's doing this on purpose, or S.J. Clarkson is specifically directing her in a way to utilize that monotone. I still don't know that she's a terribly talented actress, but I think she's perfect in this movie. Not perfect. I think she's really good in this movie. You could have certainly gotten someone else to be Cassandra Webb and make it perfectly good. But I really, like, it. Her performance brings a whole nother level to the camp that this movie is bringing, because it's weird, man. It's just a weird performance. Everything she even reacts to, she's so nonplussed by most of it. She might cry at some point. I actually don't remember. But the fact that her character's arc is essentially going from asshole who hates kids to maternal figure who likes helping people who are teenagers and stuff and is willing to accept their appreciation. I think her performance works for that arc. And it's a very well-defined arc. Like, I don't know that it's very much like an arc in search of a character, or a character in search of an arc, I guess, because you don't need it. You don't need it. You don't need it. I mean, you need an arc, but you don't, like, this is not a great arc.
I've seen that man before. So who is he? Ezekiel Sims. He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
So, not as stupid as I thought it would be. This is a very stupid part of the movie. Like, when this started, I was like, this is gonna suck ass. Let's go. Because her mom's a dick as well. And it's actually, honestly, now I'm thinking about it, that's kind of a fascinating aspect of the movie, is as Cassie goes from being a massive bitch to being a loving maternal figure in the lives of these teenagers, she also learns more about her mom. And her mom, we realize as the movie goes that her mom was not actually a shitty person, and she had no reason to resent her mom because actually her mom wanted what was best for her. And so we get, while Cassie's arc is going along, a separate arc for her mom, who is dead for basically the entire movie, which I think is really neat. I think that's great writing. Also spoilers. We're going to go into spoilers. I'm not going to well, actually, you know what? I am going to go through the entire plot because I need to do that, partially because, again, I was high and there's certain things I'm kind of mixing up in my head. I don't want to fuck that up. So.
Wait, I recognize you. You live in my building.
You're the paramedic.
Also, that's never... I just realized, they never go back to that "you live in my building" thing. It's literally one shot where she sees her closing her door, and you get, like, a hint that... and I can't remember these girls' names, I'm sorry. I know Julia because it's Sydney Sweeney, and she has Julia on a chain around her neck, so it's kind of easy. Is her name Cassie? Oh, fuck, right, I forgot. Yeah, Sydney Sweeney's character is named Cassie. So, Cassandra is referred to as Cassie. I'll call her Cassandra. I'll call her Madam Web. You know what? I'll call her Dakota Johnson. I'll call her Dakota Johnson or Madam Web. That's what I'll do. And Sydney Sweeney will be Julia or Sydney Sweeney. So, brain. So Cassandra, Madam Web, Dakota Johnson, fuck, I lost my train of thought. Wait a second.
Yeah, you almost ran me over.
Oh, right. So she lives in the same building as one of wait, I have the film pulled up here. I don't know who these people... Oh, God. She's from Kenya, so I'm assuming she's the black one. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay. So she plays Maddie... Okay, yeah. So Maddie Franklin is the one who almost gets hit by the ambulance that Dakota Johnson's driving. And then I guess Isabella Merced, I don't know how to say that fucking name, is the neighbor girl who winds up becoming, which fucking one? Anya Corazon, so she's Aranya. When did Aranya get? Wait a second. 2004, first appearance, 1 year after this movie takes place. Also, this is a period piece that takes place in 2003. Although my understanding is that the initial shoot, they meant to have it take place in, I guess, the 90s. And you can kind of feel how they're, like, kind of making that work in the edit. There's some very obvious, like, post-production, throw some Beyonce in there. Oh, yeah, and she was Dora. Right. Okay. I'm remembering things. So... And she's good. She's very good. I would say that Isabella and Celeste are both really good. Sydney Sweeney, I'm still not totally convinced about her as an actress. I really liked her in Euphoria. And I saw Anyone But You as a double feature with Madam Web. And I thought that she was both good and she is like Dakota Johnson and Sydney Sweeney are kind of the same as far as both are kind of dead-eyed for the most part, and both have this kind of like very monotone way of speaking that might just be how they talk. Like it might just be that, because I know that I've never seen Dakota Johnson show real emotion, and Sydney Sweeney seems similar. So I don't know what the deal is there. I'm not going to harp on their acting too much because, again, I can't quite tell how much of it is just intentional / natural and how much of it is actually bad acting. It's kind of a challenge to figure out. Anyway.
You don't think this is weird? How we're all connected?
Also, there's a lot of like practical explosions and stuff. I say a lot. A lot of the action is fairly practical. I'm sorry that I'm yelling too. I'm going to try to lower my volume a bit. A lot of the action is practical. There is plenty of CGI, and it is not great. But there's a lot of this practical action. Nothing too crazy, all just like small locked off streets and basic shit, but it does add to that like throwback feel that I mentioned before.
It's honestly like the least weird thing that's happened all day.
And like there's a lot of these kind of nods to how insane this all is and how kind of dumb it is without it ever going really. I haven't watched The White Lotus. I might have to finally get on that. But it doesn't ever feel as like cloying as a lot of the newer MCU stuff. Which I say that. I should note that my opinion is not held in high regard when it comes to mainstream movies. I thought Thor Love and Thunder was really good. And I thought The Marvels was fine. I thought that was a perfectly entertaining little film. So, I don't know. But it's... Oh my god, it is kind of a dash. It is a dash of voice. Oh my god. I didn't even... now I have to go rewatch all of Succession just for that one season. Also, I think, like, I've seen people shit on the villain being just, like, discount Spider-Man or, like, a cheap, like, Wish.com Spider-Man. I think this is pretty good. It is a stretch to some degree because... It's just because of, like, he's mimicking how the spider people in the jungle look. Which, yeah, there's spider people. It's wild. And I don't... It does feel kind of forced in, but also the fact that it's a practical costume and the eyes don't move and shit really makes it kind of unnerving. And the way that it's shot is really good. Actually, who shot this? I didn't even look at... who that was. Mauro Fior. Holy shit. Also shot Dark Phoenix. Wow. So this is very much like a working cinematographer. he's very good at his job, but you might notice that a lot of these movies are like distinctively of their director's style, which is nothing wrong with, like, that's he's a great DP, but he is not like a Roger Deakins where he brings like a specific look to a lot of his work. It just kind of is all over the place. Wait, The Kingdom. I've seen this. I saw that in theaters. Huh. What else we got here? Anything else that I've not seen? Or I have seen that I didn't? No. Okay. But yeah, great DP. He's a working DP. But he does a great job working with S.J. Clarkson and whoever else. And then the editor is also, I believe, the same as No Way Home. Yeah. Lee Folsom Boyd. I mean, I don't really have anything to say here. She's a blockbuster editor. There's, I will say, I remember, I know both of those Fast and Furious movies were really well edited. I liked Dead Men Tell No Tales, but I saw it at a CinemaCon screening the year it came out, so 2017. I don't really remember the editing on that one. No Way Home I do need to revisit at some point. I was not a huge fan, as I have noted. I would actually rather watch Madam Web again than watch either of the latter two Spider-Man movies with Tom Holland. Not that they're terrible or anything. I just don't find them particularly fun. I think they're kind of a chore for me, which sucks because I love Spider-Man so much. Anyway, so costume.
I have no idea what those girls have.
Oh yeah, this is where I love when he's like it doesn't make a whole lot of sense necessarily, but her powers are never really fully delved into. But I like this kind of exposition dump in the diner. I think it's, it is an exposition dump, and it's really just for the sake of Dakota Johnson's character. But I think it's a nice way to do it. I think it's better than just like a villain speech in like a villain lair or like finding documents or whatever the case may be. It's a nice kind of somewhat creepy way of handling the scene.
Those girls have come.
I think he can see into the future.
Also, here's something that bugs me about the criticism of this movie. I keep seeing or hearing people suggest that the trailers deceived us by suggesting we would get Spider-Women. But if you watch the fucking trailer, it's pretty obvious we're probably not going to get Spider-Women. First of all, none of them shows themselves having any powers in the present day, but also, if you actually, again, pay attention.
I think he can see into the future.
So this is how he looks for most of the movie. He's got a little bit of salt and pepper, nothing too crazy. And then this is, this trailer, I'm really bad at doing this on YouTube. Okay, so, and then whenever we see him in the future, which we don't know exactly what year it is, they say that his little, computer assistant lady does a 10-year search, basically, or assumes a 10-year amount of years, and then uses that to de-age the super accurate depictions of them that are taken from his dreams. I guess he spent decades seeing these visions, so I guess it makes sense that he would have their faces kind of nailed down by now. But wait a second. Okay. So anyway, so he's older. And so we know both in the film and technically from the trailer that this is going to be flashback stuff. He talks about seeing them in his dreams. Not flashback, flash forward. This is not going to happen in this movie. The plot is very obviously not about the Spider-Women. It is about Cassandra Webb. And it's cool to see them when they come into play, but And like I would definitely see this movie. Like I would love to see an actual Spider-Woman movie done well. I don't know. It's very frustrating because they kind of give themselves the opportunity to show off these really weird fucking spider powers. And they look so cool that I can understand the reasoning for being disappointed there's not more of it. But I'm also not entirely sure in this superhero landscape that'd be all that much fun. It would definitely make more money because I have no fucking idea who thought a Madam Web movie was a good like investment. But I hope they were fired because even though I like this movie a lot, what a dumb fuck decision. Anyway. Sin and Silence says, I liked 80s Punisher starring my fellow Swede Dolph Lundgren. Yo, 80s Punisher kicks ass. For me, it's Warzone, 80s, 2004. I never watched the Daredevil spin-off series on Netflix, so I can't really give a good opinion of that version of the Punisher. I think I saw like 2 episodes. So I did like that version of the Punisher. It's hard for me to watch TV. Anyway.
Trying to change what happens.
Oh, and we get a finale in a fireworks factory, which to me seems like a joke.
What happens?
Like, this feels very much like a gag. Like, this feels it's like they're writing the script, and it's like, you know, it'd be really fucking funny if the ending took place in a fireworks factory. It's only a fireworks warehouse because, if I remember correctly, they have to move the fireworks to the docks because of the building burning down. Unless maybe no, this is the building that was burning down. I don't remember. They set it up. It's not really necessary, but whatever. I feel like you could get by with just like seeing that there's a fireworks factory, but the fact that it's an innate part of the action is technically good writing. So I can't shit on that. What is Casey's favorite Marvel film? I don't actually know. I feel like we both agreed that Guardians 3 was like the pinnacle, but you'd have to ask her. I honestly don't know. Actually, she's probably not in the chat anymore. I'll just ask my wife right now. What's your favorite Marvel film? Also, do you mean like MCU Marvel or like all Marvel? Because that also changes things a little bit. Okay, so anyway, fireworks factory. You got a whole bunch of practical fireworks going off. Whole lot of CGI fireworks that look fine. And that's the whole finale. I like this finale a lot, by the way. I saw a lot of people who even like enjoyed a lot of the campiness not like this finale. And I think, again, this is really cool because it's showing her powers in full force. We're no longer getting... I think we get like a few visions just to keep the pacing up and so that we see like the major moments. But all the little beats, like her protecting them from fireworks, is all in her head and we don't see it. And it's just her reacting to the situation, creating a shield and doing all this stuff. And it's really cool. It's really cool. I do feel bad for the helicopter peeps, though, because they die in a horrible fiery explosion and are never mentioned again. Which, I mean, it's an action movie, whatever. Also, a lot of great car chase sequences. A lot's probably a strong word, but there's a lot of great sequences involving driving that are a lot of practical driving and look pretty good, including a lot of Dakota Johnson in a stolen taxi, which I'm not entirely sure how that works. She takes the license plate off at one point, and I'm not sure that would actually stop her from getting in trouble for that or it getting reported, but whatever.
The future was almost so different.
This is where she gets blinded and handicapped.
Your future was almost so different.
Come on. I love this. This is so silly. It's beautiful. We also never find out what Ezekiel Sims does. Like, he has to be rich just based on, like, general shit, but we never learn, like, what his deal is. Which I'm wondering if that might have been in a separate, like, in the script and maybe even shot, but then cut out, because it does feel like a lot of his stuff was cut out or dubbed over.
Want to live.
Like a whole lot of this shit that I just enjoy. Let's see, including non-MCU. So at very least, MCU, Casey's favorite is probably Thor Ragnarok, which is fair. That's a fair choice. I don't know. I asked her if that includes non-MCU.
You have to trust me. Get ready. Now. You're showing off. Maybe a little.
Like it. So that's the trailer. And there was I think the teaser was the really cringy one. Maybe I don't quite remember, but also I just noticed that the Statue of Liberty is right there. I don't quite understand why that is, but okay. I guess. Well, I mean, it's because it's New York, and actually you can see the Empire State Building. I think right there. But that is there's just a lot of interesting decisions on display here. Oh, that makes sense. Into the Spider-Verse is her favorite Marvel film overall. I don't remember the crowbar all that well. I remember her having it. I don't recall her. I am like before I want to do like an actual breakdown of this when it hits streaming. And also I want to be able to go through and like actually break it down. Structurally it's great. Like y'all know I love me some structure. Like all the beats are there and they're not too obvious for the most part. But it's a pretty tight script. Again, there is a lot of like, we have to make this Madam Web movie. What do we do with Madam Web? But for the most part, they just commit to the Final Destination Terminator thing and go wackadoo with it. Now, a big part of that is the fact that they scrubbed the film of like all Spider-Man references. For example, and again, spoilers. If you don't want spoilers, go watch the movie, enjoy yourself, and watch the rest of this later, I guess. I don't know. But, okay, they gone? Okay. Peter Parker is born in this movie. He is not referred to as Peter Parker. Ben Parker, as I previously mentioned, is a major character in this film. And I could be mistaken, again, because I only saw it once, stoned, a few days ago. But I'm going to say they never say his last name out loud. I think that they show his name on, like, I don't know, paperwork or something. But they never, I think, say Ben Parker. Which there is no fucking way that's true of the original script. So they have, like, scrubbed this movie clean. My understanding, and this is partially hearsay. This is what people have said. I'm going to assume it is correct for the sake of things. But I guess at some point they were going to have it be the Andrew Garfield Spider-Verse. And make him like the new Sony Spider-Man, which I think is a great idea personally, but you know, apparently nope. And so this was going to kind of be like they're going to infer that this took place within that universe. And then they switched it so that now it is more in line with the MCU version. Oh, excuse me. And so Peter Parker's born in 2003, which I believe makes him 14 in Civil War, which isn't really, like, who cares? But that's kind of how it does its thing. I don't know. It's hard to tell exactly what it this movie was meant to be originally, because it's been so trimmed and so just kind of like mangled and Frankenstein together, to the point that I'm legitimately shocked at how much I enjoyed it, because it is like a mess in the edit. Again, structurally, it's all there. They definitely, found the not the best way, but if you're going to mangle a movie, the most traditionally okay way to mangle the movie. I don't know how to exactly put that, but let's go through the plot. Let's go to Wikipedia. I'm just going to go through the plot. All right, so in 1973, jungles of Peru, a research team led by Ezekiel Sims and his pregnant partner, Constance Webb, discovers an unidentified species of spider with rare healing properties. That part's really stupid. But I think with hindsight and like watching it again, it's going to be fucking hilarious. I actually was laughing in the theater during this, but in a fairly derogatory way, which I don't usually do, but I was cracking the fuck up. Ezekiel betrays the team and claims the spider for himself. I love that he just shoots everybody, too. He's just a fucking... Like, he could have waited a little bit, but he is just, like, so fucking ready to take that spider. He's like, I'm gonna have the spider! Bang! Bang! Pregnant lady, give me the spider! Ah! Bang! So he kills Constance. An indigenous tribes... Or he leaves her for dead. An indigenous tribe attempts to... I love... Okay. This is such a great way of putting this plot, because that does not even begin to tell you how fucking insane this is. An indigenous tribe attempts to save Constance, but she dies shortly after giving birth to Cassandra. By the way, we never learn, like, how this baby winds up back in the States, because, like, no one's alive that we know of. So I don't know. It's just, she winds up in foster care in New York. Indigenous tribe, they're spider people. They are people with spider powers in, like, jungle Spider-Man suits who take this dying pregnant woman, bring her to a cave where they have the spider bite her on the chest, and that manages to save her baby, and she dies knowing that her baby is safe, I guess. I'm not sure that in her situation I would be like, yay! I would be a little concerned about what these fucking spider people are going to do to my baby, but yeah, whatever. Let's see. I liked Madam... Cat Drums says, I liked Madam Web more than Homecoming, Venom, The Amazing Spider-Man, Morbius, and No Way Home. Honestly, Sony has been getting slightly better at making these movies, which with each of these spum flicks. I guess. I mean, the only problem with that statement is Morbius is right there as, like, the second to last. But no, you're right. I mean, as far as, like, the stuff that's, like, the live-action, Columbia, Sony... spider-adjacent films, this is easily the best one. I liked it more than either Venom. I don't know if I liked it more than Amazing Spider-Man. I might like Amazing Spider-Man more. I definitely like Amazing Spider-Man 2 more. That one's great. Which is so weird. Like, you tell Michael from whatever fucking year that was that he's gonna, like, one of his favorite Spider-Man movies is gonna be Amazing Spider-Man 2, he would just say terrible things to you. Terrible, naughty things. Stand in Silence asks, Michael, if you could choose a Marvel character except Spider-Man and make a big budget film about it, who would you pick? Ooh. That's a tough one. Ooh. Not Spider-Man, Marvel character, big budget film. Oh, I'm going to have to think about that one. I'm going to try to come back to that because I don't know, man. That's a hairy situation you've got me in now. And, like, I definitely thought about that for DC, but, like, anytime I think about about Marvel movies, I'm always like, man, We could use a better Spider-Man. I don't know. I mean, I would say out of the popular characters, like off the top of my head, I would love to do a Punisher movie because I feel like Punisher doesn't kind of get short shrift, but also, you know, it's been done perfectly before with Warzone. So I don't know. Oh God. But I'll think about that because there's a lot of characters to consider. All right, so in 2003, Cassandra, going by Cassie, works as a paramedic in New York alongside her coworkers Benjamin Ben Parker and O'Neill, which I legitimately did not realize O'Neill was part of her team. I don't know how that happened. I think he's not in the ambulance. At least I don't remember him being in the ambulance during the initial introductory scene. He's in their like break room, and then he's at the fireworks factory fire, and that's where he gets hit by a car. But I like that was one of those like moments where I was like, I'm not sure I'm supposed to care about this character dying or not because I don't know who the fuck this is. But that could have been weed. Including making a film focusing on a Marvel villain. Fuck. Oh. Who Nelly? I'll think about it. Okay, 2003, Cassandra, going by Cassie, works as a paramedic in New York alongside her coworkers, blah, 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 blah. I don't know why she's a paramedic. I think it's just to facilitate the idea of her needing to help people. And it honestly reminded me of the Michael Bay movie Ambulance. Because similarly, that character is a bit like hardened and starts the movie saving a child. Cassandra also saves a child, which they don't mention in this plot summary. But she saves it, which is important, by the way, because that is us learning about her arc. Like, that is what we need to know about her character. Is she saves a kid. Well, Ben Parker saves the kid technically, but she gets them to the hospital very quickly. And then the kid tries to give her a drawing in appreciation, and she just like spazzes out. And you can make the argument that Madam Web is meant to be like a little on the spectrum, maybe, because she's real weird with people. That could also just be Dakota Johnson. So she's a real bitch. During a dangerous call, Cassie falls into the water and has a near-death experience. Ben revives her, but she begins to experience visions. She dismisses them as deja vu. But after failing to prevent O'Neill's death, Cassie realizes that she can see into the future. Which, again, perfectly good. This is strong Act 1 setup shit. She does... They don't mention this either. She goes to a baby shower. And it is real fucking funny. For multiple reasons. Some of them I'm not sure terribly intentional. It is just a very funny scene where she's like trying kind of half-heartedly to fit in with this group, and she is just failing miserably. But I love there's a initial scene outside where the dudes are all doing their barbecue thing, where she would like obviously rather be than inside with the chicks. And she is given a Pepsi. And Pepsi, of course, there's a lot of product placement in the film, including a giant sign that is a plot point. And it's this, like, perfect can of Pepsi. And she's just, like, handling it. And she obviously, like, for the sake of continuity, she cannot open this can during the scene. But there are many opportunities for her to open it. So she's just kind of like molesting this can here and there enough that it seems like she could open it at any second while also not obscuring the logo too much. Which is definitely not, I don't think, an intentional bit of humor, but it's one of those like silly moments that adds to the camp factor for me. So that's okay. Most people believe that camp cannot be like forced or done on purpose. I disagree with that. I don't believe that's the case. I think that's just people people lionize, oh shoot, I can't think of her name, but the lady who wrote the essay that is based on. And, but it is true that usually it doesn't work. And it is also true that usually a big chunk of the camp comes from unintentional places. And I feel like this is one of those unintentional things. But it's a very funny sequence. I thought it was great. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see here. So she realizes she can see into the future. And we've established the fireworks factory, which they don't mention in the plot summary. She figures it out. So this we've got her set up for the film. Now Ezekiel, who has limited precognition power, and enhanced physical abilities. Also, I like that I feel like this is one of those things they probably went into more in the original script before things got all wackadoo. But it's a good explanation for why Peter Parker has a spider sense, because that shit don't make no sense if you think about it. But here we get a perfectly good explanation for that. So it already does a better job than, say, Morbius of explaining some Spider-Man shit, making it probably the most successful non-Spider-Man film as far as like tying into Spider-Man lore. Also has 3 Spider-Women in it, technically, so I guess there is that. Anyway, so collects information. He has limited precognition power, which basically just means he has dreams, and enhanced physical abilities. I'm also curious if he uses precognition to find them in the original script, because it feels like he has like a computer assistant chick. She's like Felicity in Arrow, except more underwritten, and it feels like a reshoot. It could very well be. It would make sense, because it's just she's always in the same room, and it's not a very expensive set or anything. But at the same time, it could have just been like she was an employee / henchman of his, and they just kind of rewrote it a bit in the edit, because his dialogue is fully ADR'd in that scene. I don't think there's a single original line of on-set dialogue in that scene from him. But hers is there, so it wasn't a sound issue, I don't think. It was just they had to ADR a bunch of his stuff to make the story work, which is bonkers. Woo! Madam Weblings unite! Let's see here. So, and he has enhanced physical abilities, of course. He collects information on 3 young women, Julia Cornwall, Anya Corazon, and Maddie Franklin. His visions lead him to believe that they are destined to kill him. Cassie is also drawn to the same women and intervenes to stop Ezekiel from ambushing them at Grand Central Station. And before, just so I don't forget it, I realized this near the end, and I don't know if this was... I think this was intentional, because they kind of, give vague reference to it, but without really digging in. But I'm pretty sure that the kind of twist at the end is that this has all been Madam Web kind of spinning her own web without subconsciously to draw in and kill Ezekiel Sims. Because she says something at the end right before he's killed about this was it's not about him or something, it's about her. I don't remember the exact line, because again, stoner. But that's also a really cool thing. It's really neat that this all leads to, actually this whole thing was her subconscious, drawing in Ezekiel Sims, or the spider gods or whatever. Again, like a lot of things, it's not really explained in detail, which I don't know if that's a debilitating problem, but it's certainly an issue because it makes things far less certain. Let's see here. So Cassie's also the same woman. So we have the Grand Central Station thing, which I guess is your... Yeah, that's your no going back moment, right? I feel like that has to be it. Because we have the inciting incident, which I would say is O'Neill's death / her falling into the... I guess her falling in the water is the inciting incident. It doesn't matter too much. But then the point of no return I think is this Grand Central Station bit, because then she winds up on the run with the girls, and that leads us into in the first part of Act 2, which is them just kind of being chased. Let's see here. So she steals a taxi, which is amazing, and takes Julia, Anya, and Maddie out of the city to hide them in a nearby forest, which is a very stupid plan, but also fair enough. It's really only stupid when she leaves them, I guess. When they're there, it's fine. Although she doesn't bring any food for them, which is just, I mean, that's kind of a ham-fisted way of showing that she's not a good mother figure yet. And she's, like any Act 2, or first half of Act 2, she is attempting to solve a problem, but she's doing everything wrong. And I think that most of her mistakes are relatively believable for who the character is, and it still shows her as being competent, just she doesn't understand or think about kids. I don't know. I work for TerrorVision and Vinegar Syndrome, so I'm going to not answer that question, Grady, because I have business alliances. I will say I did not resubscribe. I think I've mentioned that before, but that's not really that's more a me thing than a Vinegar Syndrome thing. There's some wild 4Ks coming out, by the way, but I'm not going to talk about that. Cassie returns to her apartment and finds Constance's notes. So this is the point where she fucks up and she leaves them without any food, like a fucking moron. Like, what drives... Okay, this part does annoy me, just from a logic standpoint. You have to have this moment, certainly. 1 second. Oh, she's heading over here. Fuck. Okay, I might have to cut this a little bit early, because I have a friend staying over, and I thought this was like a 9 o'clock thing. Wait a second. All right. I'll just end it whenever she gets here. All right. I don't know how I got 9 p.m. and 3 p.m. mixed up, but here we are. All right. So let's just go through the plot real fast. So Cass returns to her apartment, finds Constance's notes, which reveal Ezekiel's identity and the true nature of his powers. And here we get a little bit more of her being frustrated and resentful of her mother. And the girls go to the diner, and after a brief, and of course Ezekiel finds them through NSA magic, and go to the diner, and he attacks them, but Cassie gets there and rams her car into him after a bunch of psychic visions, and she takes the girls back to Queens, and they take refuge in Ben's house. So it feels like, I want to say that's... Oh no, I guess so I thought that the diner was the midpoint, but I guess the midpoint is Cassie going to Peru. I guess it's them splitting up is the midpoint, right? Because that changes the dynamic of the film. Pretty sure that's right. I probably should have watched this again without weed before I did this. But whatever. So they go to Ben's house. She leaves them and goes to Peru, which I was very befuddled by. Everybody's fucking sending me messages, man. All right, so she goes to Peru. This is the part of the movie that is legitimately just fucking stupid. I can't really defend this part. This part's fucking dumb. She goes to Peru, tracks down the tribal chief who saved her mom. Chief puts Cassie through a ritual that separates her soul from her body. Very Doctor Strange moment. And she experiences a plane of higher consciousness where all living things are connected and where every possible future can be seen. And she learns that Constance sought the spider to save her from a fatal hereditary disease. There it is. That's the midpoint. Because that's where she learns because that's where she changes. She realizes her mom was trying to save her, and she was mistaken this whole time. So her character changes to no longer being resentful towards her mother, and this is a very direct path towards her final destination. It's so stupid though. Like the guy, the tribal chief that saved her mom just kind of like shows up and is like, "I knew you'd come back 30 years later." And I guess, I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, it does make sense in the context of the film, because he does have some sort of precognition. I'm not entirely sure how that works, because we're never given proper rules for how the spider does shit. But yeah, he helps her out, and she reaches the midpoint of her character arc. Ben's pregnant sister-in-law, Mary, goes into labor, and he takes her to the hospital. Okay, so here we are in the second act, and it's Save Pregnant Lady, played by Emma Roberts, of all people. Did not recognize her at all. Let's see here. And they take the girls. I don't really understand why they took the girls, to be honest. They're teenagers. I guess he's supposed to keep an eye on them, but, like, just tell him not to leave the fucking house while he takes her to the hospital. You're golden. It's also not a smart idea on Cassie's part to leave them with a pregnant woman, but bleh. All right, so Ezekiel intercepts them again, but Cassie... Also, like, wouldn't he try to find a coat? Like, he would figure out, like, who Cassie was and then find a coat. I don't know. So Ezekiel intercepts them. This is kind of your middle of the second half of Act 2 plot point. Ezekiel intercepts them again, but Cassie rescues the girls in an ambulance and distracts Ezekiel so Ben and Mary can escape. There's a chance that whole thing with Ben and Mary was not how it was in the script, because I'm thinking back on it, and it feels like they just kind of, like, don't show them much during this scene, but I could be misremembering. I need to rewatch the movie. Let's see here. So, oh, and by the way, distracts Ezekiel. She fucking goes through, like, a parking garage and through a wall and hits Ezekiel, like, mid-air. It doesn't make a lick of sense, but because she's psychic, I'll allow it. Group lures Ezekiel to a condemned firework factory and sets up traps to disorient him, while Cassie calls for a medical excavation helicopter to fly to their location. Ezekiel destroys the helicopter, separates the girls, and taunts Cassie with Constance's death. So this is your little darkest point in the script here. This is your however will they get out of this. So end of Act 2. And then Act 3 is pretty simple. By tapping into the web of life, Cassie guides the girls to safety. She sets off the final trap, which fatally crushes Ezekiel. And it's a Pepsi sign, and it's great. I think this is a fantastic sequence. I don't know that he really gets the proper ending he deserves as the main villain. I think a big problem with this is I think he needs, like, a henchman, like a proper henchman, like someone else to help him with this fucking spider person problem. But he doesn't have that. It's just him, which is not necessarily bad. It's just I feel like he gets a bit of short shrift, and again, that might just be the edit. So an ignited firework strikes Cassie in the face, underwater, by the way, blinding her. She's taken to the hospital just as Mary gives birth to her son, Peter. Never heard that name. Cassie wakes up to discover that she is now blind and paraplegic due to her injuries. However, her connection to the web of life enables her to see fully into the future. Cassie assures the girls that she will mentor them in their future roles when the time comes. So, we have a clear arc here. Goes from opposite of mama figure to mama figure. She saves the girls, does exactly what she has to do. I don't buy her going blind and paraplegic as something that makes any sense. within the structure of the film. I think that is part of the narrative that is dictated purely by the comics. To give you an idea, let's see here. Open like a new tab. So, Madam Web in the comics is there an old? I guess not. She's, I believe, I think she can't walk, and she's blind, and her husband, I'm pretty sure, builds her this like web-like device that allows her to stay alive. And this is just a disease she has. She's not an ambulance driver. Her mom's not in Peru studying fucking spiders. It's just this happens. And to be fair, there's not a whole lot of explanation as to why she takes on a spider-based persona. It's just her machine thing that keeps her alive looks like a web, which would be a lot cooler than the fucking discount Charles Xavier wheelchair that we get at the end. It's not great. But yeah, Madam Web is one that I remember very well, not only from the comics, but from the 90s cartoon show. A lot of people don't seem to actually know who the fuck this is, which is fair. Despite those things, she's not that big of a character. She's just one of many spider characters that, I mean, she's important and she is memorable and she is notable, but the decision to make a movie out of her is still just bonkers. But anyway, so, like, I do feel like the back half of the second act, I like the action. I don't like this whole, like, separating them thing. Like, it makes sense. It makes sense. So the Peru is the midpoint. And then here's your entire second act. And, I mean, it has an action scene that's centered around that's pretty cool. Kind of two action scenes, actually. And then, I don't know. I don't really understand how Ezekiel fucks this up, to be honest. That's another, like, I feel like there could have been a really good scene where he, like, sends minions to kill the Spider Women before they become Spider Women, because they're just teens. And, like, maybe he sends, like, an evil SWAT team to Cassie's apartment building to kill Anya. And then that's how she meets with Anya, and maybe she gets a connection there fairly early, and instead of Julia being the one that's more on her side, it's Anya. I don't know. There's ways you could have done this. Those three characters are not terribly well written, but they're also not the main characters. They are just supporting. They all have their own arcs. None of them are great. They're just, we need an arc, so here they are. And of course, they all learn to trust Madam Web. That's an important part of it as well. And I love this, like, the traps. I love the whole, like, roof of the fireworks thing in the third act. This is a well-structured and okay-written film. The problem is the edit. The cinematography's great. I really enjoyed there's a lot of just, like, very simple camera movement that isn't necessarily what you would normally see it's in place of, like, static shots. And there's static shots of two characters talking and shit, but I don't remember that many. I remember most of it looking pretty solid and having a lot of just, like, creative verve in that area. Yeah, but the big, there's two, I'm going to end with two big problems I have, and then I will go more in depth on this when I eventually probably do a video on the whole film. There's two things that I hate. Not hate. One of them I actually find just delightful, but I hate it because I kind of dislike it because I think the movie would be just a legitimately better film without it happening, and that is the Ezekiel Sims ADR. There is a lot of ADR through this movie to get us to understand the plot that they're going with that is obviously quite different. And I think some reshoots to change the time period. I'm not entirely sure, but there's a lot of ADR. And Ezekiel Sims, there's one scene where he and his computer chick are trying to figure out Spider Women, and he's like threatening her because she's not finding them, despite the fact that she has just explained that she is doing a lot by herself. That's another thing. Like, if he's rich, shouldn't he have like a team and not just one chick? Whatever. It feels like he should have more of like the satellite base in GoldenEye. He should have like that, but he doesn't. He has a desk set up in his apartment with a bunch of screens and one lonely woman and her snacks. Which, whatever. But that scene is very weird because it is that one and the one where he kills the NSA chick. So much ADR. It feels like an Italian Western at times with how incorrect the voice is to what the mouth is saying. What's his name? I can't remember what his fucking name is. Blah, blah, blah. Tahar Rahim. And I never saw a Prophet. I don't think I've seen him in anything. But Tahar Rahim, really good in the role, I think. Just stymied by the fact that he is like 75% dubbed, at least. The other thing I don't like, and I think this is legitimately a dumb thing they did, is that final scene where we see her in the wheelchair. She has those stupid fucking glasses. We get two like types of eyewear for Madame Web, and one is in a Vision of the Future where she has like a full like red like visor thing that looks slightly better. The glasses she has when they're in like their like she basically gets turned into oh, I'm sorry, I didn't explain what ADR is. That's my bad. I do that all the time. My friends all know what ADR is now because they have to ask me. ADR is dubbing. So they dubbed over almost his entire performance, and presumably that's because they drastically changed how his plot was structured. And it's really obvious. Let's see here. Oh, but the glasses reminded me of those glasses that Christopher Lee wears in Howling 2, Sturba, Werewolf Bitch. They do not belong on her face. Also, they, like, okay, blind people can move their eyes. I recognize this. But generally speaking, when a blind person is, like, kind of looking, so to speak, at someone, they usually are, like, turning their head. But you can see Dakota Johnson's eyes through the sunglasses, darting back and forth between the characters who are talking. It's like, I don't know if you want to see that. I feel like this could be something we could fix in the color tab pretty easily, guys. So that was kind of dumb. Let's see here. I feel like there's more. Oh, it's just an awkward scene. She reminds me of Oracle, like Batgirl Oracle. The way that they like set up this thing. And none of the girls have their spider powers, which I didn't expect them to, but it does feel very much like pilot, like the ending of a pilot for a show. About 3 Spider Women and their mama Madame Web. And it's not great. Wait, Mike Epps. That was Mike Epps? Okay, this is going to be wild to go back to because I did not recognize Mike Epps. Just like I didn't recognize Emma Roberts. Anyone else in here? No. I am curious, who is this? She was in The Flight Attendant. United States of Terra. Mad? What the? Okay, wait a second. Was she in? This is such. Joyce Ramsey. I don't remember who Joyce is. Assistant photo editor at Life magazine in the Time Life building, where Sterling Cooper Draper Price is located. Peggy meets her in the elevator in season 4 episode The Rejected, and the two quickly become friends. Oh! Right. Okay. There's the loft party. Okay, I remember her now. Oh yeah, very Birds of Prey. Very Birds of Prey. Which is also like such a weird thought process for doing a movie like this, because like why would you go with a Birds of Prey style film? Birds of Prey itself, not that big of a success. I think it did fine, if I remember correctly, but like not a movie that like set the world on fire. And then the TV show was a 1-season flop. Or was it even 1 season, or was it a pilot? I think it was 1 season, right? I'm pretty sure it was 1 season. I do not understand the thought process behind this movie. I am glad it exists. I really enjoyed it. It is dumber than a bag of bricks, but also full of very smart moments and a smart through line that's just a little fucked because there's like 87 writers credited and the editing is all over the place. Not because the editor is bad, but because the studio can't keep their fucking mitts off these movies. And you really have like a director's vision, I think, in this movie. Like, it feels like a specific director making their movie. And they are doing a callback to the early aughts when superhero films were in the Wild West stage. We didn't know what we were doing. And I really like that. It was so nice to watch this after all these fucking OP superhero movies. I don't... Oh, God. It's just so frustrating because, like, I feel like everyone's always asking for something different from superhero movies, and then the second you get something different, it just fails miserably. Like, even, like, the Marvels, which I understand why that failed. That was not a good idea either. Like, the Marvels is, like, a fun little jaunty comedy with some chicks, like, you know, learning to appreciate each other. That's cool, man. That's cool. But no one wanted to see it. And then here we have Final Destination and Terminator in 2003. That's great. That's a great idea. We're not going to watch it. I don't know. I find it very, very frustrating. Because again, this is a very strong film. It is stymied quite a bit, but the thing about movies in general, actually, that it drives me nuts, like the internet drives me nuts with this, is everyone wants to focus on like the memeable shit. Like, I've seen a bunch of memes about like dialogue in this movie, and there are a few that are just like heinous, but a lot of it's like that last scene. And most of the film is legitimately funny or legitimately, you know, well-paced, has strong action. You know, is it the best superhero movie ever? No, not by a long shot. And it doesn't connect to anything. There's some Spidey references, but nothing too crazy. There's a very funny bit. I think this is actually in that last scene. I might be wrong about that. But there's a very funny line where... Oh, no, it's... They're in the hospital. Right, there it is. She's been blinded. She's in the hospital. And they say something about how Ben is enjoying the fun of being an uncle without the responsibility. And she says, that's what he thinks. Which is kind of fucked, because that means she knows that Ben Parker dies, tragically. Okay. Hell yeah, man. Alright. Okay. Man. I just like it. I like it a lot. I don't expect everybody to like it, but I do think that this, like, 1-star, half-star nonsense is bananas. This is far from the worst movie that I've even seen this year. It's far from the worst Marvel movie. It's far from the worst Dakota Johnson movie. Like, it's perfectly good. It's a fun time. Now, as for which character I would adapt into, a movie from Marvel? Let's come back around to that question and get the fuck out of here. Because I've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. Holy butts. I really don't know. I don't know what character... Wait, let me just... Okay, I'm just going to bring up Marvel Comics characters. And I'm just going to... Let's see here. Oh, that's a terrible list that they gave me on... I don't know. God, you're killing me, guys. 'Cause I don't know. I don't know. Godzilla's a Marvel character. Let's see. Here's the top 100 superheroes in Marvel. Black Widow, Ant-Man, Rocket Raccoon. Oh, this is terrible. This is fucking dog shit. I do think Moon Knight could be done better. As could Werewolf by Night. I think Werewolf by Night's pretty cool, and they did okay, but nothing amazing. Blade would be fine, I guess. I'm just going to try the villains, because these are all boring. Doctor Doom would be a fun movie. I think you could get a good, strong, adventure film out of that. Let's see. I don't know. Also, I love how the movies have just fucked up all rankings of characters. This is on Ranker, so it's not a very... Here, I'll show you. This is on Ranker. Dormammu is at number 10 because he was in Doctor Strange. People recognize him. Kang could be done very well, but I feel like that's not going to happen. God. It's all terrible. It's not all terrible, but... Yeah, I still love the Punisher. I don't know, man. Everything's been adapted, and it's all just fucked. Kraven the Hunter would be a really good one, but we're probably not going to get a good movie out of that. Although, who knows? Maybe that'll be the one that is actually really good. I doubt it, but I don't see that happening. Man-Thing would be fun, too, instead of that fucking sci-fi original thing. And Morbius is another one where it's it'd be really cool if that didn't suck. I don't know. I'm not good at this. When I was working for Screen Rant, I totally could have told you which character I would want to adapt, but I just can't think of any. Because the only one I really that would want to, only big superhero I would want to do is Spider-Man, because I fucking love Spider-Man. But how about this? How about underrated Marvel Comics characters? What do we got? Jesus Christ, guys, you're killing me. Ooh, Miracle Man would be really good. Okay, Miracle Man would be all right. That one would be really cool. The Question would make a great movie. The Question as kind of darkly comedic film noir. Beautiful. And in the MCU, that would work really easily because you could just have some superhero bullshit that he has to kind of deal with in the background. So, but otherwise, I just don't see anybody that's really... Wait, is Miracle Man DC or Marvel? Yes, okay. I was about to say, because like Martian Manhunter, that doesn't belong here. Oh, the question is DC. You're right. God damn it. Oh, that fucked me out. Sorry, guys. This is why I wasn't very good at my job. Yeah, these are like, none of these are, I don't know. I just don't really, I'm remembering now that I don't really care about Marvel outside of Spider-Man. I think that's why I'm like, I don't really care when the movies fuck around with the characters, because like, I don't read Thor. Thor comics are fucking boring. To me, I'm not saying that they're bad. Like, if you like Thor comics, go for it. But, like, you know, everything's been done too. Like, I would love a good Moon Knight show. Moon Knight, the one we got was fine. It kind of shit the bed at the end, in my opinion. I don't know. Like, Marvel's... DC has way better characters. I'm just going to say it. They have way, way better characters. I think Marvel has a better, like, connected world. Ooh, you know what? A Silver Surfer movie would be pretty tight. Like, some, like, really psychedelic, really bonkers. Just, like, I could not care less about a Sabretooth film. I would, you know what? I'll say it. Silver Surfer. Non-Spider-Man characters, I would do Silver Surfer, because Silver Surfer is insane. That is some psychedelic shit that you could get into. So, Silver Surfer, 100%. 98%. This does make me think, like, I kind of want to do a video where it's like how I would handle various Marvel characters. I could probably do it like a, you know, Marvel characters who deserve a movie or something, and just go into how you could adapt those to film, because they're definitely out there. I just can't think of any off the top of my head. Allison, that's actually a great idea. A Dazzler movie set in 1979 that is part slasher movie, part disco movie, part girl with a big dream. Yes, cast Taylor Swift and let's do it, baby. Yeah. Anyway, I need to get ready to handle a bunch of shit. I've got a bunch of cleaning to do, and I gotta take a poop, and so much going on. I still haven't fixed the credits, so goodbye. I'm gonna goodbye. It was a pleasure. I will try to stream more. It's just been a lot going on. I did get some good news recently that should mean more time to stream. But I hesitate to actually say that because everything always ends up fucked. But yeah, I'm gonna leave now, and I will talk to you guys later. Go watch Madam Web. Deserves your dollars. I thought it was great. You might too. Probably not, but I might just have a bad opinion. But I think you go in there with some weed in your system, you're gonna have yourself a good time.